Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of The Mandala Effect. Thank you for joining me. Today is a celebration. This week is a celebration, and I'm not talking about celebrating 2022 in particular. I'm not talking about celebrating 2023 in particular. What I'm talking about is a personal celebration for me. And there have been a few this year, but 1 year ago I was given the official all clear of my cancer experience and my cancer journey. So I was told that there was no cancer remaining, there was no tumour remaining in my breast. So it's 1 year all clear. And this is an incredible celebration for me. There have been a few moments this year where I have acknowledged and acknowledged myself, acknowledged what I've been through, acknowledged where I was this time last year, and sometimes I didn't even realise, but it was brought to my attention that this is where I was last year. I don't intend on having this celebration every year. I might acknowledge it within myself quietly, or I might change my mind completely and decide that I deserve 7 birthdays throughout the year and each one of them is going to be a celebration. But this year is special because it's 1 year, and this year in some ways has been harder than last year, harder than when I was going through chemotherapy, harder than when I was having surgery and making decisions and having to be brave. I've had to be brave this year as well, and I've learned many lessons. And for me, when I say cancer is the gift that keeps on giving, I mean that very sincerely. I have learned so much, and my life has changed dramatically thanks to cancer, and the experience that I went on. I would not be where I am now if I hadn't had that. I would probably still be very miserable, and now I know better and I know how to just be happy because I am, and that's incredible. Like if I took one thing away, it would be that I can be happy, and that's okay, and being happy is normal, and we don't have to be miserable all the time. We don't have to be stressed, and we don't have to be anxious, and we can choose to be happy, and we can generate those happy feelings from within us. If I've taken anything away, that's the biggest thing probably. But anyway, so without getting into it too much, now I just want to welcome you to the podcast. You can tell I'm on one, right? So I want to welcome you. Thank you for joining me. The Mandala Effect podcast is really dear to me because it's with this that I hope that we can inspire others to improve their own lives, step into their power, what is possible. There are so many possibilities available to you to help you live an amazing life, and you just have to choose to take them, choose the opportunities, and as you improve your own life and work towards making yourself happier and more fulfilled, you then have an effect on those around you. So this is the point of the Mandala effect. As you raise your energy and you raise your frequency, you automatically help those around you, because their energy will rise as well. It will rise to match yours, and we all can affect each other in this way. I don't know if you've ever been around somebody in particular who always is happy and joyful and positive, and then when you finish, when you spend time with them, you feel the same for no particular reason, but just because. So that is their energy affecting your energy, and vice versa. You probably have that effect on other people as well. So this is the Mandala effect, and with this, as we encourage more and more people to work on themselves and to improve their own lives and to make themselves happier, we have a huge effect on the world, not just the people in it, but the whole consciousness of the planet. So yes, you can tell I'm feeling very deep today. So thank you for joining me. And again, I'm hoping to keep this short and sweet, but whenever I say that, I tend to talk a lot, so maybe I won't jinx it. Back to celebrations. So yes, today I am celebrating. This week I am celebrating. In fact, there are a couple of really cool things have happened this week. And I'm recording this on the Thursday. The Friday the 16th is my 1 year anniversary of having the all clear. I can remember exactly what I did last year. I actually had COVID last year. I didn't know at the time. So I was walking freely around London, spreading it around. And tomorrow I'm taking myself off for a quiet afternoon in the spa, just in this really little quaint looking place in Kent that I'm really looking forward to. Just an afternoon to be with myself. When do we spend time just being by ourselves? I mean, I spend a lot of time on my own, and a lot of time being and reflecting, and I have done a lot of that this year. And it's been because it's been needed. So tomorrow I celebrate by taking myself away to a spa, just for the afternoon, just for a couple of hours to just sit and think and reflect and contemplate. And this year has been quite difficult. It has probably been more difficult than last year, more difficult than actually going through the cancer in different ways. I've faced different challenges, and you know, if it was my friend who had been through this, I would say, you deserve a celebration. You deserve to pat yourself on the back for what you've been through, and go and do it and love yourself and celebrate yourself. And, you know, you're incredible. And so this is what I'm doing for myself. Because if you know, we have been brought up to think that we can't celebrate ourselves, and that it's self-centered or selfish, or who does she think she is? But I know who I am, and I'm fucking amazing. And so just because I am, for no particular reason, not that I beat cancer, not that I beat cancer, I don't really like that term, but not that I have done anything particularly special, but just because I am. So I am celebrating myself and where I have got to. And, you know, the cancer has been the gift that keeps on giving in so many different ways. I have learned so much about myself. I am so much happier now than I was 2 years ago, when I was blissfully ignorant about having cancer. But I look back, and I have spoken about this quite a bit, but I look back and I think that I was so unhappy 2 years ago. I was stressed, I was anxious, I was shit scared, I was not enjoying my life. Me and my partner at the time were we were just happy, just going along, drinking our weekends away, not really connecting. We were a friendship, but a superficial one, and none of us were really happy, but none of us wanted to be alone, so we stayed together. And there were elements of my business that weren't working, and I was having panic attacks going into meetings, and I was trying to work. I felt I had to do more in order to be successful, and taking that off the back of COVID and the pandemic, when actually my business financially was flying. You know, I thought that's what success looked like, but if that's what success is, I don't want it, because I don't want to feel that way. I'd much rather be smiling and happy going into meetings and calm and chill than having to try and control my breathing and my thoughts. And my goodness gracious, what a mess I was in. And so when I was diagnosed with this rare type of breast cancer, I decided, I decided that, right, this is it. My life has to change, because now I have to stay alive. I have to change my life. I have to live differently. And how am I going to do that? It's funny, because as I was diagnosed, I'd started reading Becoming Supernatural, and this is by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and this is before I was diagnosed with cancer. My body knew something was up, right? My intuition knew something was up, and of course it did, because I'd split up with my partner. I'd started doing more to care for myself. I was speaking to private doctors, trying to understand what was going on. I knew that if I went to a GP through the NHS, that I would have been suggested to take some tablets to try and help with the stress and the anxiety, and I knew I didn't want that. So I wanted to get to the root cause. Anyway, the root cause, whilst I can't say exactly what the root cause of the stress, the anxiety, the cancer works or related, I know that one of them was I was unhappy. One of them I was holding on to stuck energy, stuck emotion, and I was holding on to the past. I was angry at the past, and again, I can't pinpoint exactly what, and I don't need to, but what I know now is that I let it go, because the cancer was a huge fucking wake-up call for me, and I realised that I couldn't keep living the way I was. Success wasn't what I thought it was, right? And that's what I was chasing. And now success to me means happiness, it means fulfillment, it means joy in just my everyday, it means joy in my morning walk rather than anxiety in my morning walk. I used to go, me and my ex, we used to go for walks in the morning, every Friday morning. It was really lovely, actually, probably one of my favourite times that we spent together. And we would walk around Holland Park and have a gales, and it was really nice, and it was a nice thing to do before we started the day. But I just remember our conversations were always, I was always struggling with something. I was always trying to figure something out. I was always anxious about something, and it was never like, oh, I'm really excited about this. It was always just, there was just an underlying element of stress and not and just, I don't know, unfulfillment, a lack of passion for what I was doing. I was driven by money and the thought of money, and I was driven by the feeling of not having enough. I was driven by lack. But now, interestingly, the anxiety attacks stopped when I was diagnosed with cancer. It was like almost, it was coming out of my body, but through the experience of cancer, right? But this isn't what I actually wanted to speak about today, but here we are. And now I go on my morning walks, and I walk just along the seafront outside my house. I live on the sea. I wake up in the morning, I have the sunrise through my window, overlooking the ocean. This is stuff that, I've journaled about this for years, but I take my morning walk now, and I have like tears of joy in my eyes as I look out at the ocean and see how abundant it is, and see the incredible beauty of Mother Nature, and see how expansive it is, feel how expansive it is. I had no idea that these feelings were possible 2 years ago. I thought I could only get these feelings when I was on holiday and pissed. I didn't realise I could get them just from walking. Just from walking outside my house in the freezing cold, wearing 1,000 layers. It is just incredible. And so that brings me back to celebration, because the only person that I have to thank for that is me. And I always thought I needed something else to be happy. I always thought that it was outside of me. I always thought that I needed a boyfriend in my life to validate me, or I needed money to prove that I was worth something. And now I've moved away from everything that I know. I have no family here. I have no friends here. I am starting to make some friends. And I have moved to this place, drawn by the ocean. I was literally drawn here by the ocean. I was called here. And this house on the ocean turned up like a miracle. And I have no idea really what I'm doing here. But being here, being on my own, and going through everything this year, trying to recover, build my strength back up, grow my hair, and just kind of recalibrate myself and realign myself. All of that has now got me to a place where I can just go for a walk and I can be filled with bliss. And that is magical. I want to tell you that is available to you. The only person that's going to give that to you is yourself. You cannot rely on other people for that. You cannot rely on a thing. You cannot rely on money. None of that is going to make you happy. The happiness comes from within your heart. It comes from reprogramming your brain and your body and your energetic system to feel happiness. And then it just starts to become your natural state. I was writing about this in my journal this morning. Every morning I write what I'm grateful for. And I was writing how grateful I am that now my natural state leans more towards bliss, joy and peace than it does stress, fear and anxiety, which is where I was 2 years ago. And at the beginning of this year to some extent, and I still have days where I get really low, but I'm in such a different place where I allow that. I allow it and love it because I know it's something coming up that is ready to be released. And whilst it can feel really painful at the time, I know that it's not going to last forever, and it doesn't determine anything. It doesn't mean anything about my life. It doesn't mean anything about me. I am not my emotions. You are not your emotions. They come and go. They're literally energy just moving through the body. And this is why meditation is so incredible, because meditation helps you recalibrate. It helps you understand that the bliss consciousness, the bliss state that we kind of, I guess it's almost like the aim in meditation is not that meditation really has an aim other than just being, but you can hit this bliss consciousness and you realize, actually, this is my natural state. This is how I'm supposed to feel. It's not anxiety. That anxiety is a teacher to tell you something is out of alignment and you better do something about it. And if you're feeling that way every day, you seriously do need to have a good look at your life and see what's not right. What's not right for you, and make some changes, because otherwise you're going to end up, the universe is going to make changes for you if you don't make them yourself. So I get off my high horse now and just go back to the celebration, because I got here with I believe that I have moved with grace. I have allowed the universe to guide me over the last year. I have allowed a connection to my intuition. And thanks to my connection to my intuition, I have had an incredible recovery from cancer. I stopped chemotherapy early, and it turns out that was the absolute right decision. And I decided to stop for many reasons. I knew deep within me that it was the right thing to do. My body had had enough. It didn't need any more. I was getting more poorly and more poorly mentally. I was having suicidal thoughts. I was feeling horrendous energy. Like it was manic. It was, and we don't know if it was effects of menopause or steroids or whatever it was, but I allowed my intuition to carry me through and lead me to the right meditations and the right practices and the right healers and the right people to speak to. My surgeons were some of the best surgeons in the UK just by chance, and all this. It was a really miraculous journey, and I have written about it in my book, and I hope to get my book published next year. Watch this space. I still feel like it's finished, but I still feel like I'm writing it, so I don't want to jump the gun and publish it too soon. But the journey really was miraculous because I was brave enough to listen to my intuition. So I think this is the biggest thing that I'm celebrating, is how brave I was, how bold I was to listen to my intuition and go against some advice because I knew what was right for me. It's just been a really interesting time. But I was, brave enough to stand in my power and take my power back. We are all responsible for our own lives. We are all responsible for our own health. We are responsible for how things turn out for us. So taking your power back, reclaiming your power, and taking that responsibility on yourself rather than blaming circumstances or people is that's like the first step to taking your power back, realizing that you're responsible, nobody else. I really had to do that last year, and God, it was scary. It was a really scary thing to do, but I am so, I'm looking back now and the place I am in today, I am so pleased that I did. So what else am I celebrating? I'm celebrating getting through the challenges of the last year, because like I've mentioned, this year has been in some ways harder than the year before, when I was going through the cancer, when I was having the chemotherapy and the surgery and the reconstruction, and my hair was falling out, everything I knew about my life was changing. I was questioning my relationships. I was it was like kind of never, I was going through menopause, and everything was it was all just crazy. But the challenges didn't stop there where I thought they would. Things of my life still had to fall away. And they had to fall away so that new things can come in, and you just have to have faith that you're on. What if you're exactly where you're meant to be? You just have to have the faith, and it takes trust to have faith. You have to. Having faith is trusting when you really aren't sure. It's just trusting anyway. It's believing anyway, and. So I've really had to have faith this year that something's going to change and that I'm on the right path and that I'm doing the right thing, because at some points I thought, oh, what the fuck is going on? I had cancer last year. Why is this happening now? Nearly my life doesn't look anything like it did last year. I don't live in London. I don't really have the same friends. I don't... or the same relationships with people. I don't have the same desires. I have different, my life just looks completely different. I can't believe it, really. It's just so crazy. But I know that it's right, and I know that I'm on the right path and that I'm on the right journey. And in fact, that was reflected back to me yesterday. I recorded an amazing podcast with an amazing woman who is a friend and an incredible business owner, and she's an inspiration for female business, for business owners everywhere, actually, not just females. She reflected it back to me that I'm in the right role, which is amazing. And I did a talk in her community the other week and in her membership, and she described me as she's still bougie, she still owns this fine jewelry company, but I'm now much more zen, and anyway, I'm rambling, but so no, the challenges of life will never stop. They will never stop. They keep on going. And that's been quite a hard pill to swallow this year. like I said, I've seen things carry on falling away, and I did think that, I've done cancer, well done, big tick. That's the hard bit of my life over, and now I get to go and have loads of fun. I've had to rebuild. It's like the cancer came along and demolished the majority of it, and then there was still kind of some of the rubble left that I've had to clear away this year. If I was to use an analogy, that would be it. That I've had to keep knocking down the rubble in order to build a solid foundation that is more aligned. Or maybe it was an earthquake came and knocked it down, and in order for me to rebuild, I had to clear it all away, and now I'm rebuilding. So 2023 is probably my year for rebuilding. But rebuilding in alignment, not on wonky ground where the house is going to fall over again. And it really, and that is, if I can pass on a lesson from that to you, if it seems like things are falling away, know that better stuff is coming, because better stuff is coming, and I am seeing better stuff appearing in my life, and my whole life is undergoing this major transformation. My business in particular is going through a major transformation. I've pivoted from being solely a fine jewellery designer and business owner, and now I am a life coach, and I am a meditation teacher, and I do all of this other incredible stuff. This podcast has changed. It's been a massive transformation, and I know that this is more in alignment than where I was 2 years ago. So it's so funny, because the podcast that I started, this is the podcast that I wanted to start, but it's not the podcast that I did start. And the podcast had a focus. I was like, how do I tie jewelry into self-development? I don't know. So I had to dress up jewelry as self-development up with jewelry, and it was difficult, and it worked, and people loved the podcast, and but now it's changed. But this is it, and these are the conversations I want to be having, because I believe that with these conversations we really can make some big change. So I'm probably going to leave it there, because I have rambled a lot. I don't even know if I've made any sense, but I just wanted to share why tomorrow, or Friday if you're listening to this on Sunday, is so important to me, because I have overcome so much this year whilst recovering from the cancer experience than I have ever thought I would have to do, and even getting through cancer in such a miraculous way. And now I take my morning walk and have tears of joy in my eyes, rather than take my morning walk and I'm filled with anxiety and stress and misery. And I wake up excited for my day, and I want to tell you that that is possible for you. And I want to tell you that you can literally have the life of your dreams, and it all starts with understanding that you have everything you need within you, and you just have to peel away the layers of the conditioning and the programming that is built into you, and that's what you're running on. If you recognize that you are unhappy, and you recognize that things aren't aligned in your life, you need to make a change now, because otherwise it will build up, and something will make the change for you. It will fall away without you knowing, but you can make the change. You can consciously make the change. You can wake up happy, I promise. And if you do wake up happy, well done you, because that's you're to thank for that. That's nobody else's achievement apart from yours. You, like I've mentioned, a relationship won't make you happy. Money won't make you happy. Speaking on the TED stage won't make you happy. The achievements that you think you want won't make you happy unless you understand that you generate those feelings. So if you're not used to generating those feelings, you won't, when you get the money, when you get on the TED stage, when you get the relationship, you won't be able to feel those feelings of happiness and joy that you so want, because you're not used to feeling them. You have to get your body aligned with feeling them, and understand, and you know, we understand that the challenges are going to keep on coming, but those challenges bring valuable lessons, and they help us learn where we can just make a little tweak in our life. Oh, I need to look at this. Oh, this is some stuck energy. I need to release this. And just listening to the whispers, listening to the nudges that are taking you down a path. Follow them, follow your intuition, be brave enough to go against the grain, and really, really step into your power. You are so powerful. I cannot begin to tell you how powerful you are. You have to see it for yourself. You have to start recognizing it for yourself. You know, I can tell you you're powerful all you want, but the only person who can actually understand, you have to start seeing your own power before you truly begin to understand it. So you have to start to embody it, and do whatever makes you feel like you are powerful. So I'm going to love you and leave you. I hope that this has made some sense and you've enjoyed listening to it. I don't feel like it's really had much of a point, but hey ho. Have a wonderful week ahead. This time next week is Christmas. There will be a podcast released. It will be a short and sweet one, to get you through the last week of 2022 before we head into 2023. And in 2023, I have got some incredible guests lined up for you on this podcast. Some incredible humans who are really, really making big change in this world. And I cannot wait to bring this to you. It's going to be fucking awesome. So in the meantime, have a wonderful Christmas, and I will speak to you soon.